just going to give a little commercial break. Bryn was talking about the faculty school, and I did attend, and I know Steve was there, and Natchez was there, and a bunch of other people were there, and Dean was the one that put the school together. It is excellent because I can only imagine when I came out of the room, was I political? No, I was in the need of whatever I could get, all right? And what happens is the political realm kind of grows on you like whiskers and hair and, well, for some of us, hair. But what ends up happening is, do we really understand how the other side fights? Okay? That's only if you're in the game. If you're not in the game, you don't know. All you're going to do is bitch and moan. Why are we having this happen to us again and again and again? I can say this one day class, which really opened up my eyes. I think I was doing some of the stuff, but my background being such, I'm an observer and I'm a listener or whatever. And once you get done with this course, what ends up happening is it kind of sets up what your skills may or may not be, or what you want to work on. I know when we went to Northampton, the Lincoln Days breakfast, what an example. I mean, I really had a good time because I didn't feel in the hot seat. Dee was in the hot seat a little bit, but for the most part, I became the observer. I wrote down things that was going on. And that might be a skill because once you go out and do some camp scene or whatever, when you get done with that, you have this information and it needs to be shared, and it needs to be shared across lines that says, you know, I know when they were down in Union, okay, rich, money, it's horse country down there. That's Kennett Square. It's owned by a lot of wealthy people, so they don't want anybody in from the outside, unless you're going to be part of the mushroom situation that's happening. So I'm going to hand this out. This is something that's taking place on the 16th of May, which is a Saturday. It's an all-day affair. It will be held at, for those of you who know about iHeartRadio, WAEB, which for some of us we know Bobby Hunter Walsh. Okay, it will be held in their stage studio. The cost is $40. We're going to have
lunch.
What's that?
Includes
it
lunch.
will include lunch. Okay, you don't want me to make you lunch. But what will happen is, okay, we'll be there for those people who should be coming, because if you have issues with certain things, I would say Janice's group, and I know Janice said that she would be coming, okay? When you have issues, sometimes it's better to get some background training so that you feel more comfortable in terms of what you're doing, okay? If you're not a political animal that's in Harrisburg every day, and I only know Todd has, I think he lives at the Capitol. Is that not true?
No, not since the parking rates went down.
Okay.
But
all right.
But
the
I
issue
can be
is
there. I'm lucky because I can
Right.
leave my house.
Right.
I can be parking inside the Capitol in 25 minutes.
Right. So what ends up happening is Todd is there. He's learned some of this stuff partially by the seat of his pants, people educating him. Okay, he's got a wealth of knowledge. But what happens is, how many people are going to travel to Todd or to spend hours on the phone as far as with Todd? It's better to be with the like-minded people. So this is the end of the commercial. Could you just, take one and pass it on? For those of you who already taken it, that's fine. I know that eventually I'm going to be going to a 2.5-day course soon. But for the most part, go ahead.
To get back a little bit on topic, not just talking about what we can do to evaluate campaigns and issues and politicians and how to get them to move in the right direction. this meeting is supposed to be all these groups coming together.
Yes.
The bottom line on that is Todd has an advantage when he wants to disseminate information. Todd is an excellent, should be an award-winning writer. And so he can write an article. We have a number of people who do that, and they can put it out and get it published. Watch Wire, or your paper, or South Schuylkill News, or any number of other alternate sources. Put it on YouTube. Steve does YouTube videos. Not everybody is as articulate, and not everybody is as media savvy, but we all have information to share. Bottom line on this whole thing is, I don't think anybody needs to worry about giving up your membership list, giving up your donor list, or giving up your issues. What you need to do is give up your information, share the information. And Todd had an idea, which I'd like him to share at some point, about how we could, on a weekly basis, share intelligence information so that we're all not necessarily on the same page as far as what we intend to do about it, but so we know the latest and greatest of what's happening.
Since Dan brought it up, I'll just throw it out right now. I think everybody here that doesn't know about it, tune into the Heritage Action Sentinel program. Their model is top-notch. Their model is superior. They have and they're inclusive. Anybody can be a Heritage Action Sentinel. You don't have to be a leader of a group or anything like that. It's very inclusive. They have a conference call consistently every Monday night at from 5:30 to 6. There's a call. Usually about 40–50% of the time on that call is open to questions. You push a button to get in the queue. And then they have a website. This is very important. They have a website where any person who's a Sentinel, and what they're looking for is feedback. If you have an experience with a representative in any district, on any topic, on any issue, you add that as input and with impact stuff. They just started doing what they call Open Line Friday, where they have on the Sentinel Hub, there is an area there for anybody can comment on anything, add their opinions, their thoughts, whatever. This is a way to tie, with one website, to tie everything together. That's all. I just think it's very valuable.
Okay, thank you.
I think that's federal, right? Isn't that federal?
That's all.
It's federal.
Yes,
right?
yeah,
Not
and
state.
you know what?
It's very useful for federal.
Yeah, I went to the Heritage Action Sentinel Summit in Atlanta in September, and I came back and I contacted Commonwealth Foundation and I contacted AFP to see if they were interested in setting up something similar for the state.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Matt Briette told me that Commonwealth is just like, it doesn't, he thinks it's a good idea, but they don't have the resources okay, it's not where they are. AFP seemed a little more receptive, but I got to get back with Beth Ann Mumford, and yeah.
Okay, all right. I'm going to hand this list, and you can go around and look at the list, whether or not your name is there, whether things as far as emails, phone numbers, if you want to put your phone numbers, how you really want to be contacted, whatever. This is a list that I did get from Eldon, plus also Jamie Cox gave me her list. And I do actually spend a fair amount of time on the phone. I know what it is to be an operator on the phone, because I spend lots of hours just talking to people about the concept of what we're trying to do. As I said in the beginning, it's no one group ruling. It is really by consensus where we really need to go. What is it that we need to do? So let me start this out over here. You'll see some stuff over there as far as 1s, 2s, and 3s. I just did it according to Tea Parties, and then the David Boldinger's group, which has a lot to do with the taxation. And then there's a 3, which is kind of other groups, and then there's a bottom-off group, which is not many, but just take a look and correct it if you need to correct it. Okay, next thing we want to go over, basically, is, as I said in the beginning, there is no bylaws, there is no laws, there's nothing, there's no guidelines. All right? I'm a person that needs just a little bit of structure because the way you think a meeting should be run or whatever, the way I think can be a little bit different, but we need to come together to decide what is it that we're going to do, how is it we're going to conduct ourselves. Okay. Now, in talking to a number of people, Dean and everybody else, that we kind of need to start putting some meat on the bones. Are we going to be able to do that right now? No, but we better start talking about it, or else we're really not going to be organized. All right? Are unions organized?
I can actually tell you that right now, unions are experiencing a huge problem.
Yes.
And volunteer members aren't doing a damn thing for them.
But they have a structure.
Their structure is useless without the people.
Right.
We have the people, we need
That's
the structure.
You're absolutely correct. Okay? So some of the things that I think we need to talk about, we can decide, if you look at it, as far as, one of the first things came to my mind, and talking with Jim Rutt, he's, those who know 11-9-12 project, the moderator, okay? I'm the moderator for this meeting. I will be sitting in the seats for the next meeting because what it was decided before was that Dean was going to take the next meeting. Dean kind of volunteered. I kind of looked at him and he felt the pressure or whatever and said, okay? So it's a volunteer basis. It doesn't mean that if you don't volunteer and you don't do it, we look at you any differently. But we need somebody to run the meeting because how do we get here today? All the background information is what we all do to begin with to have our meetings, right? We've got to do that, all right? Does everybody agree with number one? Any hands that say we shouldn't have a moderator? If we don't, I probably won't be here. Okay? All right. All right. Now,
I hope we give the moderator a whip.
well, it all depends how big you are or how much you can project your voice. And whether or not
Or a
you have,
microphone.
I had a mother that when she gave you the look, she didn't have to hit you. You knew something was coming.
Say a word.
Okay? All right. So
Dean is going to be the next
yes,
moderator,
Dean is the next moderator.
and then I think we discussed John after that. So
Yes,
I guess,
Don Chess.
is everybody good with that?
Right? Okay. Now, We the People Coalition sites. Who's responsible to set up? Okay? As far as I'm concerned, that's the moderator. Do I want to say we never come back to this building? No. We need to move this around. If we don't move this around, and maybe because I'm from the Lehigh Valley, or Jamie is from the Quakertown in that area, and we have it in Perry County because we want to draw people in, that if you don't come, you're not looked at as an oddball. It's just that you have limitations, okay? So that the more that we get around, the more people that hear about us, and we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. Go ahead, Otto.
John had a pretty good idea yesterday when we were talking. We have groups that are far away that won't come simply because of the distance.
Right.
He was recommending that maybe we could Skype when we have a meeting and then get connected with people from the other side of the state.
Tom Slovak, and I'm going to volunteer Tom Campione. They can look at that. If that's a viability, let's do it. Why not?
Yeah.
Okay?
Can I make another
Absolutely.
suggestion?
Go ahead. It's easy to do these.
In terms of Skyping, that, for those who may not be technical, that's real easy. That just says we're online with a camera, and it works in both two directions. So we're here physically, but somebody in Perry County can participate in live time. And we make, the moderator makes certain that they get there. Now, as far as physical locations, the only suggestion I would make is that we don't go one end to the other end.
No.
We move it in one direction. So we're here, we're going there. Let's move it west, then move it south, then move it east, whatever you guys want, so that there's a gradual overlap and we end up with people meeting each other face to face.
Can I comment on that? Sure. I'd like to suggest that whoever the moderator is for the next meeting, we should probably be somewhere in his location because he's familiar both
yeah.
locations.
Right.
And then we could rotate from that point on. If you want to get it in your area, then volunteer to moderate.
Okay, all right, that's a viable. All right.
So is everybody trying to do this on a monthly or as a basis?
No, we're not meeting on a monthly basis. Now, that's not for me to say we should or we shouldn't. I'm just going by the guidelines of what was set up when I first joined. And, go ahead, John.
If you got an idea, I just want to say something.
Yeah, it's just that we're putting meat on the bones. If you think in the beginning we should meet a little bit more, then just remember there's going to be individuals here. And it might be me, I'm not going to be able to attend all the time. You might not be able to. I have grandchildren. I'm doing this because of them. All right? So I may not choose to come or whatever. But what happens is I want it to be moved around. All right? Because, and that will be Dean's responsibility, John's responsibility. But if we can get all this technical stuff, let's just do it that way.
Real quick before you go ahead, most of these groups have large boards and large organizations.
Right.
So if Tom couldn't make it, there's nothing from Lehigh Valley Tea Party that could, vice,
Right.
or any of the other groups.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
as long as there's a representative.
Right, and if there isn't, there isn't, but that's why the backup is here, so that people can view it, all right? We don't want all of a sudden to catch people up, the next meeting, and all of a sudden, Jamie wasn't at the other meeting. Now all of a sudden, what went on at the meeting and all that other stuff, okay? Go ahead, Joe.
And that's what I was thinking too. Somebody said maybe auto that way, if people would want to meet. I don't see this, I'll say that people have lots of stuff to do, action. I know Dean was doing an action item today, get real work done.
Right.
And he might not want to take time off to come to something like this, let's say. But with the video, you can always look at it again. I foresee this as like a thing to get the whole state, because this is where we can move the world. Your local area and then it grows. Everybody's little local area makes up the whole state. And we need things done like Dean's doing
Absolutely.
everywhere. So
Absolutely.
if anybody wants a meeting, they can call the moderator.
So I was going to say, is the following meeting date going to be decided at the meeting? Do you know what I mean? So like at Dean's meeting, then we would decide the date of the next meeting that John's going to moderate?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Before we leave here today, we will put a pen in hand that says, the next meeting will be this, you will get an email where it's going to be.
Okay.
Okay? All right, Dean, is that, I'm speaking for you a little bit, but. Yep.
Just a quick comment on what, I'm sorry. Just a quick comment on what John just said, though. He envisions this as going across the entire state of Pennsylvania.
Yes.
When we're dealing with politicians, if they know that we're linked now with those kind of numbers, we're
Yes.
going to get their attention. Believe me.
Yes.
Just in terms of mechanics and bare bones, no less than every 2 months. If a month is too frequent, 6 weeks. We can't let, and
2 months is the current schedule.
Right.
We're going to consider
We're going to
changing
consider
that.
changing that. Right. Okay?
Does it always have to be on a Saturday?
That's up for discussion. Because Saturday and Sundays, to me, at times is family time. Right?
I have grandchildren.
And I agree, but the question is, if we do that, and you decide to say, let's do it during the week,
working people
Right.
may or may not be able to make it.
That's right.
It would have to be
Okay.
in the evening first.
in the evening. Right, right.
Yeah,
Okay, so at this,
And that's how we wound up with Saturday
That's
for
right.
this time.
That's right.
Because during the week, we have a tough time.
Yes.
Agreeing.
yes, so, go ahead, Bud. I'll let you finish your thought. My thought is, keep your thinking caps on. Let's try the next meeting of a Saturday, even though I may not like it.
Bring your
Let's-
grandchildren.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't have my undivided attention, that's the problem. I would be with them, really. Okay, so let's just say, for all purposes, let's just say we're gonna do it on Saturday. Everybody get their thinking caps on, and, you know, you can start emailing and saying, well, let's try it. We can try it. You know what I mean? It's not, we're not failing, it's just, let's try it. All right? Yes?
Just maybe, if it is gonna be a weekend,
Yes.
maybe not in the middle of the day.
Okay.
Maybe like first thing in the morning, get it. That way you have the whole rest of the
You
day.
can tell he's not a breakfast, you can tell he's not a breakfast person.
Just a thought.
When you say email, where do you email?
Okay, we're gonna kind of go over that. Yeah.
And also may I add, in my opinion, on the weekends, you know, most people are off, you know, so let's take the time to come here and, you know, and fight for our country and
Yes.
take that to Commonwealth. I'm
Yes.
sure we can, you know, we're doing it for our children and our children's children.
Absolutely.
So let's say, hey, you know, I'll see you a little later or whatever. This,
Right.
you know, put it
Right.
aside just for this one
You
day.
can have this 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and people decide to do that, but, you know, you're not gonna know right now, but let's just keep it the way we have, and if all of a sudden you send Dean to say, let's try it at 2 o'clock, let's try it, okay, we're open to that, then we don't wanna change it so many doggone times, and all of a sudden people looking at you saying, can you get your act together? I mean, what is this Fisher Fowl? All right?